Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the One Path Podcast.
Yes.
Hopefully one day it will be brought to you by Liquid Death.
Maybe one day. This is our new setup. It's in my basement, and I decided to theme it around Christmas. Hopefully this episode will come out before Christmas. I mean, these are pretty easy to edit. You just slap it onto a thing and load it onto the internet, and it's right there.
Exactly.
A lot of this is very raw. We don't edit audio at all, so, if you swear, it's stuck on the internet entirely for eternity. My cat loves this the most. If you watch our YouTube videos, you're probably very familiar from the Top Deck Heroes mascot, unofficially Gizmo.
Unofficially.
But we have a very special guest with us today. It's one of our longtime friends and fellow card game player and fellow Top Deck hero. Would you like to introduce yourself and your person you brought with you?
I'm Connor. I have been a Top Deck hero for like 3 years now, haven't I? Wow, it's been a while. This is my kid. I stepped away from the channel to focus on to prioritize my kid and taking care of her. I'm the primary caretaker for our kid while my wife works. So she spends a lot of time with me. So she's here with me today.
Yeah.
All the
She's
haters.
a little distracted by doodling over there, but...
And she likes kitties, so...
You'll hear her talk about that cat several times.
And so if this isn't the most intellectual episode of this podcast yet, this is definitely the cutest because we have a cat and a child that is adorable, both and all. And we got cute little, Christmas wrapped up. I wrapped the desk. I wrapped those empty boxes. Yeah, there's just no gifts in them. Sorry. I just wanted it to look cool on set. And I think we look a little bit more professional.
A little bit more.
It's definitely a rushed job, but I think we made it work.
We have some fine tweaking, but it's a good start.
Well, our presence is your present. It's just not wrapped.
We can spit a wrap right now. I'm just kidding. We're too white for that.
Please don't.
But since Connor's never been on the podcast since the reboot, he was on the original when we rated set 3 cards like Flagberg and stuff. Yeah, it came flooding back.
Gosh, yeah, all of it's coming back.
All of it's coming.
I actually had a flashback hearing the opening to the podcast music. Man,
Nostalgia all the way. But yeah, I have my holy scriptures here with me today. We'll be reading from them, and I'm probably going to cover 2 topics because I think we're well equipped intellectually. Hopefully, we're going to pray. So last episode was a very goofy, funny comedy bit. This one's we're going to get more into deeper waters as far as rounding out our character sheets.
Oh, speaking of the last episode, it traumatized some of the viewers.
Oh yes, yes it did. Thanks, John. Shout out to
thanks, John.
Jonathan DeForest, hashtag @Nephilim on Twitter, or not Twitter. Does he tweet? I don't know. Definitely has it on Discord, and he does Twitch streaming, and so all the haters follow him there.
It's his fault for that nightmare fuel we went through.
Yeah,
I guess now I have a reason to listen to last episode.
Yes, you do.
Oh my God! Just brace yourself for his last pick.
So we've covered several topics in the past, but I guess for you, since you're a veteran card player over the years, you've played card games for a long time, is when are card games not fun? And that's for everyone in this room, minus the child, because she is definitely in the doodle world. Those are going on the fridge after this.
Oh, this entire book just taped on so you can open it and flip through the pages. But card games aren't fun. Actually, relevant. Card games aren't fun when they start to feel like a job.
Hey. It's true, though.
I'm famous is an interesting word for this, but for the coined term emergency son. But actually, I only played Overdress for the channel after a while because playing it felt like a chore.
Playing it outside of the channel, it's like, I have to keep in mind all the things I've been learning as a professional card player, that I can't experiment because it's going to disrupt the flow. Experimenting is like, I can't play for fun. I have to take things seriously. I think that I kind of get that point for me because I don't mind playing on the card game channel. It doesn't bother me that much because usually I just stick with the decks I love. But outside of it, like when we went to Duluth last year and I went to Worlds, and I talked about this when we went back to Duluth this year, is the bar has been raised for me personally. I can't, it's harder to relax now. I feel like everyone's viewing me through a different lens because, like, you went to Worlds. If I'm sitting across from you, I should be expecting to lose. And if I beat you, I'm going to get ahead about myself, or I'm just going to think less of you now. it's like, he's losing his edge. It's like you do something good once, it's kind of hard to clear that bar again. I didn't like go, I topped 8 this year, or I topped 16 this year, and then I topped 8 this next year. No, I just went from hardly ever showing up to a regionals, and if I did show up to regionals, it was either team events, and if I did show up, I wasn't even playing. I was just the pack mule. And this one time I participate in the longest time. Oh, you got first place. I didn't quit, and my friends didn't tell me to quit. I want to thank my coach, my grandma. I'm going to Disneyland, and Disneyland had to be Tokyo, Japan, and it was really fun. I don't care if I ever go back. It was really fun. I'd love to do it twice, but like it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me that card games got me there. And I'm always grateful for my team around me, the Top Deck Heroes, to help me get to that point. And, Sharp Match, that's why I keep this poster over here in my backdrop all the time, because that's the deck that got me there. Shout out to Orpheus Mask. He's my real coach. But no, I get that where you have a different mindset now. And like even last night we were at locals and we played derpy decks because you just got back into card games for the first time in a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been 13 months. I checked when my last tournament was. 13 months since I last played, and I picked up a structure deck. All I did was change the triggers for effect triggers and went at it. And it was some of the most fun I've had playing Vanguard in a long time.
I think we all collectively had fun despite my personal frustration. We played the derpiest decks we had in tow, and we had some very strange results. It was a 6-person tournament, so we're like, well, it's low stakes, low group, low power level.
Look,
really
anytime you're deciding to play Dragon Tree, you're having a good time.
Yeah, I'd played unoptimal. I always forget his name. Favernil. Yeah.
Favernil. And I played an illegal deck because since I left, apparently it's been changed so that the main deck has 50 cards plus your ride line and standard. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Tell you how long it has been since he's been playing the game.
Of the deck. So I played with an illegal deck.
Yeah.
And I still only came in 5th out of 6.
Hey, no one could do better than what John did. He played vanilla lyrical because he ran that promo lyrical card. It was actually a pretty decent deck. The problem is it had one trick, and if that trick didn't do it, he had a bad time. And he was one of my only victories that night because I messed up his ride line with one attack, and it just ruined his whole game.
He was my only victory last night.
Lon's over here like, I'm about to ruin this man's whole world.
Well, to be fair, he knew what he was doing last night. He was well aware he was probably going to get last, if not next to last. Hector ran Heroes. It wasn't like the best build it could have been. It didn't have the new promo, but like he did really well because Heroes is actually really good when everyone else's power level's lower.
Yeah.
It's just the best deck in the room. I mean, Connor, your deck it was the structure deck, but that's actually a solid deck out the box.
I was very surprised that out of the box, what is it? Vergilla. Thank you.
The manga deck.
It comes out of the box fine, but I wasn't expecting turn 5 to be swinging with like a 73k Vanguard. No one's prepared for that.
It was solid. I was really wanting to play in Palladio that night because we were expecting when we learned we were going to have a small turnout, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll play in Palladio because one of our guys who's local who also plays Brentgate, he really likes in Palladio, so I don't try to play the same deck in the same tournament. Keep the variety high.
I see I'm the same way with Zorga. Like if I know Justin's going to be there, I'm like, I'm not going to play Zorga. I'm going to let him play it. I got other decks I can play.
Exactly. And so I'm like, oh, I get to play in Palladio, and then everyone's like, we should play meme decks. I'm like, not a lot of my memes are like fair memes. Like I have the monster deck, but that one's actually pretty solid. And then the Bad Bat, I should have played that honestly after playtesting more after the tournament. It bricked so many times, like you needing those very specific cards to get off to the races, and you don't. You're just like, man, I'm just doing nothing. I'm playing the worst version of Brentgate right now. But no, when card games start to get not fun, it's just like because I've played several card games. I remember in G format towards the end, like when Gergo got its second grade 3, like kind of that era of V, or not V, but G was kind of getting really exhausting. Everything was getting expensive, and we didn't have cases like we were now.
Yeah.
And so like you had to pull everything or order singles. It was very expensive. And then by the very end of G, we finally got like one of our first cases. It was, we had a few beforehand, but like up to that point, we weren't getting cases consistently. But the meta was getting like every set was game defying, and it was just ridiculous. It was
So to my part of this question, I have two reasons. And I'm going to hold my fingers up because when I talk about one, I'm going to leave this up so you guys, because I know you guys are going to chime in, and that way we can remember I got the other one to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
So
I know I'm bad for interrupting.
So you're good. So I was going to let's hold my fingers up so we can remember. All right, so my first one, and when I think card games are bad, is when it becomes a one-deck format. I think that whenever you're going into competitive play and it's just the one deck to beat, there's no counter decks or nothing. You know you're going to see that deck everywhere. That's when it's not fun.
It's the meta, and then it's anti, and it's not fun.
There's no anti. Just just the one deck.
The deck.
I'm talking about like V Luard format, like the one deck.
Yeah, it's like there is no counters to this. I go too hard.
Yeah, like this deck needs to hit like immediately because this deck's just going rampant.
This is a problem.
I've played a lot of card games where that happens. That actually is a good point because that's what pulls me out of a lot. It's why I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I couldn't remember what it was, mind you, because it was a decade ago I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh. But it's happened with Shadowverse. I've picked up and put down mobile Shadowverse a dozen times at this point.
Yeah,
I remember several times where it was a problem in Vanguard.
But my second one is whenever I like interaction in card games. I love interaction in card games. I love being able to tell have this say where your opponent can't just run away with a game. You have a way to answer back. But I don't like, looking at you, Yu-Gi-Oh, is when there's too much interaction to the point where the game is unfun because it literally goes, do you have an interaction? Yes. All right, the game's over.
It's like, oh, I'm done with my turn. And I can't interact with you because my hand was just good starting cards and no interruptions.
Yeah. It's either you have an interruption or you have the win. It's one of those two.
It's
like,
two extremes.
There's no back and forth.
Well, like that's what, funny enough, one of the more recent YCS is the guy who won, his deck was Fiendsmith, and it's his rank 4 deck that came out in one of those side products where it's like 3 start decks. Like you can build them in the box, what's in them. Kind of like a hidden arsenal, but different. But he played it. It's like a meta contending deck, and he ran the Fiendsmith engine in it, and it's like a 12 card, not 12, but it's a very small engine, like less than 20 cards. The rest of the deck was hand traps.
Yeah,
it was gross because the deck runs few traps too. It only has like one built-in counter trap for one of the archetypes. It's like 3 Imperm, 3. Nibiru, Ash, the whole gambit, and I'm just like, it's kind of boring when you have to do that when your engine has to be so tight and small that the rest has to be non-engine that's interruption.
I mean, it's a good example when you see some of your top competitive players. I think one of the YCS champions like even came out and said, like, I'm taking a break from the game or I'm quitting the game because it's just too much.
Well, I think another counter reason, it's not even just the gameplay. Konami in general has a really bad problem with not giving good surprise support for their winners. Like, hey, you can only win so many Nintendo Switches before you're kind of sick. Yeah. But no, like that. I say that as a joke. That is 100% what their prizes have time. And you got games like One Piece, where they're giving thousands of dollars to their winners. Same with like Lorcana, because it's Disney money. Yeah. So like it's just.
But I think you mentioned that because I remember seeing something on Twitter recently about a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament where top 8 walk away with an air fryer.
Yeah. That was no joke. Well, that is like, we can't give Switches again. Here's an air fryer. It's more practical because you're all adults. There's no kids playing this.
I mean, yes, but also I would absolutely go into a tournament for a chance to win an air fryer. We have an air fryer already.
Wait. Would you go into a tournament or a paid tournament?
Yeah, it's because some events you have to pay to participate.
Yeah, I'd pay.
It's not like a region or BCS regional. Like you just gotta walk in, sign up, and go.
That's why I'm okay with Bushiroad. People are like, "There's no money." It's like, well, I don't have to because like I talk to Pokemon players, they have to pay to go to the regionals.
Yeah,
not just hotels, but they have to pay to play, and there's only so many slots in the tournament, and it's like a lottery system too. So there's only certain windows to when you can sign up.
Yeah.
So they really fine tune when people can enter regionals, and they do have cash prizes like crazy in Pokemon, but everyone's paying to play.
Yeah.
So it's like it's at that point, yes, they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
If it's a good enough air fryer, I'll pay to play.
And, fair enough. I mean, I got air fryer upstairs. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but they're pretty solid.
But on the other flip side of my thing is like I hate when there's too much interaction. But at the same time, I wish card games like Vanguard had more interaction.
I mean,
I liked
yeah.
G format G format was great because G guards were great interactions. And I think honestly, if you're looking at a card game who has the best implementation of interaction, Magic the Gathering does the best.
Correct, because the resource base helps control how much interaction you can do.
Yeah, like the fact that you can play instants at your opponent's speed and be able to interact on the fly like that, I think is great.
And like Shadowverse tries its best to do that. The problem is the windows for interacting with your opponent are limited. It's the end of the turn or when they attack.
Yeah.
And so like it makes the game, honestly, the game wouldn't be playable if you could interact all the time, because like only cards with aura can be uninteractable with even when they attack, versus I can't do my combo plays and like set up my board how I need to if my opponent can be like, snipe that, snipe that, snipe that. The skill comes in when they are playing, and then they swing in for attack, and they didn't finish setting up. They kind of got ahead of themselves, and you'd be like, snipe that piece, and they're like, you see that moment of like, oh, I goofed.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that. I should have kept setting up, because it's not like in Magic and Vanguard where you have setup phase, attack phase.
No, there's all one phase.
It's continuous back and forth of I'm going to attack with this, play more spells, do this, attack again, and I think I find that refreshing about Shadowverse is. It's just different enough where it feels like it's just a whole nother animal. Because I play a lot of Magic. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot. I don't like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm a big fan of retro formats like Edison, Goat, trying to get into Tengu. Hat's gotten really big lately. That's before Duelist Alliance, so you had the hands and artifacts and all that. You remember that. But, no, like, what you say is true. And that's what's fun about the older Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats. There's not as many hand traps. I think Effect Veiler is as big as it gets.
Yes.
Up into Hat format. Even before that, like in Edison, there's no Effect Veiler. There's no Maxi either. Yeah. So it's like, you get to have fun. Traps and spells matter. And so, like, it makes for more engaging and nostalgic gameplay. So you're stuck in that fun nostalgia bubble.
But I think Bushy Road is heading down a road of having more interaction. You got decks like Absolute Zero, decks like Sienna that interact with your opponent while they're doing their turn. But I think if they would pull the restriction on blitz orders a turn, there could be a window of like, oh, we can have a little bit more interaction in the game because we can create some more creative blitz orders because you can play multiples a turn.
Because they had to build a whole archetype to even do that, where its blitz orders lets you play an additional after it.
Yeah.
That specific one's played. So they're trying to experiment to see how fair it is. I mean, I'd counter-argue with that. I think that deck is so hard to beat if they just have them like back to back in their hand and they have a full set of energy. You just ain't getting through them. And they can recycle them. So imagine if you weren't restricted.
Yeah.
And not all of them use Energy Blast to use your orders.
Or
they're
just
like Soul Blast.
They keep giving us these like cool new guarding shields and everything. What if we just get some like cards that interact with your opponent when you guard? Kind of like back in the day, Kagura used to have a guardian that says when it's put into guardian or retired from guardian circle, it retires a rear guard.
My bane is Gurgwit. Thanks for reminding me. I have trauma.
But
like, don't go like hard with it. Just splash a little here and there. I think it'd be good.
Well, like as we used to see, because blitz orders have been in the game since like what, set 2 of Overdress at least. No, actually, maybe even the first set. I don't remember.
Blitz orders have been in since actually V.
I was going to say it was like
because
midway to
the quick shield you used to get when you ride going second.
That's not a blitz order.
It is a blitz order.
That one I don't count that one.
It's barely a blitz order, but it's a blitz order. That was when it started, and I do like the direction that it's taken.
But Overdress is where they actually leaned into blitz orders.
Well, also I've noticed lately, like I kind of noticed the trend towards the beginning of Overdress. There were blitz orders, but hardly anyone's playing. It's like, you can only play them once a turn, so I don't want to jam them in my deck. Now most decks these days will play 2 to 3, depending on the Vanguard. Of like, if your blitz orders they've gotten better over time. Like Brantgate, we had like one decent one in jail, and sometimes we only ran it as one of I was too scared to run it multiple. Now I'm thinking of putting 3 in my jail deck, just its effect lasts till the end of the turn. So it's like the most powerful blitz order, I think, in Brentgate, but stuck to one deck.
Also, like some blitz orders are just really, really good, like Twincast.
we
I was
can.
gonna say,
you just can't find a slot. Just like, this is a really good defensive card. Just throw it in there.
it's a great, and it's a Regalis piece. Like, we have very powerful blitz orders that were not there when I left. I was very surprised. I was looking through the database on the Bushiroad Navi, and I saw defensive options that would have blown me away while I was playing just 13 months ago.
Yeah.
Stuff that actually would have hard countered overdress and crossover dress easily.
So yeah, like it's a mix of how overcomplicated the game is, too much interaction, not enough interaction. That's why our friend Atreus, he really likes Yu-Gi-Oh! He thinks Vanguard doesn't have enough interaction. And so I can understand that, but for me, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a little too extreme. Like you said, Magic has that nice balance of, because it has a resource system, it limits your interaction. Versus Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like,
but I think it's
special summon how many?
But I think that's a great way you. That's a great way you thing you mentioned that, actually, because now Vanguard actually has a really good resource engine that you could use for that.
Yes, energy. It's a replenishable resource, but it is finite. You only get 3 a turn unless you have things that give you more energy, and there's not that many in the game currently. But it is a pocketed resource. It's not like Counter Blast where you have to have it, and Soul Blast where it's like, well, not every deck can use it, and so that doesn't make it fair.
So like, I could see them printing like a heavy costed blitz order that says it stops like an attack or something like that, but it's Energy Blast 4.
Yeah,
because then you have to really
take a turn.
Yeah,
so like I have to take 2 turns. Actually, I can't use more than 2 Energy Blasts between 2 turns.
Yes,
to make sure I have 4 sets to the side.
To have that safety net.
No, I think that's a valid point, and I think that's plausible too. That could happen. I argue that the jail one is one of those Stotzi attacks because it gives a neg till end of turn. So it's like, even if you restand, you might not be touching me like at all.
Yeah.
So it's just those nice things that, like, and I think more blitz orders can be thematic to their builds, because you kind of got within Levy Dress where it has its markers that shrink. So it's like it's got multiple blitz orders. So I think that's another deck where they're kind of experimenting of how fair can a blitz order be. And so they're like, we're going to just make a deck's mechanic about making orders so they act like blitz, but they're not blitz. I think they're trying to do it without doing it.
Yeah.
By experimenting with different archetypes. But at the same time, I think it can be fair. I could see why they wouldn't, because that leaves deck building and new ride line building open for the future to take advantage of those mechanics later.
It's funny. I'm going to jump in because you mentioned it. I don't want you to get too far off. Another time I think card games stop being fun is when they stop exploring. Energy is such a fun new way. Jumping back in, it was confusing, but it is perfectly balanced and incredibly engaging. You can't be denied energy if you're playing with it.
Yes.
You get it back, which is great, because people damage starred me all last night, and it sucked, but I could still play because all of my orders and some of my effects burn energy instead.
Yes.
So it was good. I like what you said about orders being thematic. If you explore a deck's identity, it gives you a chance to really build into it without also accidentally breaking something random in the format.
Let me tell you, I love like experimenting with energy. That's why one of my favorite decks to play is Glass, because Glass literally says you as the player at the beginning of your turn get the ability, when your opponent's rear guard or guardian is retired, you gain energy. So you get to actually burn and pull and burn and pull energy the entire game, and it's just this fun back and forth of resources.
Yeah, Counterblast and Soul Blast are secondary to that deck.
Yes.
That's tertiary
really
even.
Interesting.
So like one day I'll have to show you this deck, but that's why it's my favorite deck, because like you said, it actually gets to explore using this resource, and it is so fun to play.
It's arguably a bad deck. And
yes, it is. It is a bad deck.
Well, like, I don't think it's bad because of its power level.
Yeah.
What makes it bad is it's a stall deck. And so, because most
it's a very
tournament
defensive
events
deck.
are timed, if you went to regionals, and now the new time rules is a double loss. It's not turns. It's, at least at our local level, we can keep it at turns, but you're still pushing the clock playing that deck. And so, if you're at least at best at 1, you might get through a game and might not break the clock.
So the theme of the deck is it cheats out a Vanguard from your deck or anywhere onto your Vanguard for a turn when it gets an extra attack.
I know Glass. Okay.
But it disappears and goes into your bind zone.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay until there's 2 of them in your bind zone, and the only way to put them in your bind zone is by the Vanguard, the card's own effect.
Yes.
So it is a turn 6 deck. to play optimally.
And
so
it's
it does
really
have to stall.
And it's really good at stalling.
It's really good at stalling, but the problem is, like you said, you can't take it into a timed match because you'll always run the time clock.
And no, it does not deck out when it keeps the other Vanguard.
Yeah, it has a way to recycle the cards into your deck.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
So yeah, decking out is really hard. You will likely deck out against it because you're just playing the game.
That's what I
so
play
long.
most of the time. Most of the time I'm playing Glass, I'm like, I'm just playing the waiting game for you to deck out.
Also, Glass will let your opponent draw cards as part of the effects, so it's causing them to deck out more. It's definitely
so
part
that's
of the win
its
condition.
purpose. Well, then, God, that was something that upset me last night was when you mentioned that it is a double loss when you run out of time. Why do that if there are multiple stall decks in the format?
The problem is in the Y is because at a regional level, because when we were at Duluth last year, they didn't have it was turns in time. Versus when we went back in spring, that's when it started to be double loss. Seeing it night and day, not just because it was teams, it just ran shorter differently. It ran quicker, but like they saved hours.
Yes.
So like at least 3 hours in their day not doing turns.
Which another thing I noticed is that they added a lot more event locations. And I think they're trying to test this to see how fast they can get through a tournament because they're done with top 8 cut by like 2 or 3 o'clock.
Well, that was with teams.
Yeah.
With this past regionals at Duluth, we had like almost 500 people.
Yes.
So it was a lot, but I think they finished top because they cut the top 32 or 36.
32.
And then they were done. It took about 8 o'clock, so it was about as late as last year. But they had that many players cutting to the top, and deck checks take a while. But they were done with everyone, the first 5 rounds before. It was like what? It was like not even 6 o'clock. We were out of there before 5 p.m.
Yeah.
When they got done cutting to the top 32. So they saved hours. It's just because it's not top 8 anymore. It's top 32.
Yeah.
Deck checking takes a lot longer. And they were a lot more pickier this year than they were last year, too.
Like, they're able to, it's not like back in G where you would play to top 8 cut and then day 2 play the top 8 cut. It's now, like, they're trying to rush all of it into one day. So in order to keep it all concise into one day, while doing larger tournaments and doing more locations, they're trying to make the tournaments go faster by doing double limit on top. So as soon as the time's over, the tournament, that entire round is over.
Yeah, I could see your look of like, why would they?
But
well, they can't jam all their
yes.
IPs on one floor either.
But on top of that, like them cutting the tournament shorter and having a more determinable time when it should be done because they know this round is going to be done within minutes of this time ending, they can easily go to a new location that's tighter on their time schedules and be like, okay, cool, we can now book this location because now we can know a direct time instead of them being very strict about, oh, you need to be out of here by this time. Like, oh, we know we will be out of here by this time.
Exactly. It's not a guesstimation anymore. It's it's more finite.
It makes sense, but as a player, it sucks because it means a bunch of decks just aren't going to qualify. It does automatically remove decks, no matter how good they might be, from even participating.
I told Lon this, and I think there is a good medium for this. And they can still end the round right there at time, but by not doing double loss, but instead doing, you check damage. Whoever has the most damage loses. Then if it's a tie in damage, double loss.
Yeah, I know they've been the judges for the most part, because I watched it in real time when we were at Duluth last. Is when time gets called, you can determine amongst each other, you and your opponent, who would won. If it's time, I think it's the gentlemanly thing to do. Some people are like, no, I don't want to determine. I don't want to like play out the turn to see what would have happened. Because like if you're mid-turn, because sometimes some combos just take a hot minute to do before you're able to attack to maximize your turn. If you just rush into your battle phase, you could be like tiny numbers because you didn't do everything right. And it's like, it's the difference between winning a turn and like passing it back. And then, yeah, you did lose because you didn't kill them. Our friend, he went into time once, at least that I watched, against Jail. And I mean, Jail will stall a little because you constantly have to pull your resources to hurt them. And they played it out like in a very casual way, just like checking the top and the drive checks and how the function would have been. And he was proving that he could have lived through all of her attacks and he would have won because of that. He would have made it back to his turn and she wouldn't have killed him. And then she conceded on that point. And I think that's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Sportsman-like behavior.
Yes.
When it comes to card games. Some people being jaded at that point, it's like, fine, double loss. We're going down together.
Yeah, I mean...
And I don't think you should result to that. I think you should be fair and to the point and just, prove the thing. I remember when we went to teams when they first started the rule, and, Philip and his opponent, they were in time, and the judge was right there. He's like, y'all have the choice to y'all have the chance to determine who wins this. You can discuss, and whoever wants to concede can concede. And Philip, and as a team, we had to discuss because me and Alex were tied. I won my game, Alex lost his game, and Philip's was the deciding game.
Yeah.
And we told Philip, I'm like, we don't care if we go, because like if we lost one more round, we were kind of out. We couldn't top.
Yeah.
And so we were okay with losing because Philip's deck, he was playing bat before the new cards, so he's like, I got to do all my tricks. I got to do it all in this game.
Yeah.
And he had fun. He's like, I'll concede. And he looks at his opponent. He's like, but we still have to play this game out. We got to finish this game.
Oh,
He's like, but I will concede. And he played a game and he won. He sacked him hard. But he was happy, and they got to keep playing at least another round. We don't know what happens to them after that, but we were satisfied. It's a teams event. There's no world's invite. You just get a cool little, first place trophy, like a baseball trophy thing, and then you go home. And actually, you didn't get trophies. You got little medals for your teams. But, like, it's cool, but at the same time, it's springs is for testing. Winter.
I will say that team events are there for you to have the experience with your friends. It is a fun event. It is not a competitive event. You can make it a competitive, yes, if you really want to be that way.
You solve the meta and be like, what's the best 3 decks?
Yeah, but I think it's funner when you go into teams doing like me and Lon and Philip did, and you just take fun decks and you just see how far down that path you can go.
Well, we start with memes, but I'm like, I really don't want to play Sienna, guys. And so I played Jail instead. I killed so many Luard players with Jail. It was the funnest thing. I had a lot of fun with a deck that...
Oh, I love when I played Granfia, and people, the biggest question I got the entire tournament was the best part of playing that deck. Because in order to play Granfia, you have to legally make that many plant tokens.
Yes.
So you have to actually physically have that many plant tokens.
Can't use that.
I had 20 plant tokens on me, sleeved on the side. And they go and look at me and they go, is that a G deck? And I go, no. And their face goes, and I'm like, they're like the shock of like, what the hell is he playing?
We were at regionals this past time. I fought a Granfia player towards the end.
Yeah.
And they had that stack of just plant tokens. And I'm just like, let's go. Like, is that a strike deck? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I think I know what you're doing.
But I think it's like the moment of the realization when I asked me that was the best part of that entire tournament for me.
I have to ask, how are we looking on the clock?
We're about halfway in.
Okay. I have a second topic, but I'll let you finish. I have a question for you.
The time a card game is the most fun is when you're playing the game to play the game.
Yes.
Ultimately, I wanted to have fun. That is why I went last night knowing there were only 6 people showing up, was because I could buy a structure deck. Whether I lost or not didn't matter. I was there to play. Because it was my first Vanguard match in forever. It was nice to win a single match. Sorry, John, but...
He's okay. He knew what he did.
Yeah. Even then, it was fun to look at everybody playing their meme deck, one of their favorite decks that they've put work into, and we all enjoyed it. Not a single person left there upset.
I was upset not because of the deck I played in the tournament. It was the deck I didn't play in tournament. Decided to you didn't play with me. I'm going to pout, and it wouldn't work. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's just annoying. And I'm like, my deck is having a bad time. But the deck I played in tournament, it kind of did the best it could with what little I had to work with. But I had fun.
I had fun as well. Like, I didn't expect to win because it's Dragon Tree. But the fact that I actually got to get the over-trigger condition off and everything is kind of nice.
I like to point out I went the longest without dying to it.
Yes. You made me go, I think, turn 7 with that deck.
You and I...
Spoiler alert, Lon, or Philip, if you're listening to this, I got second place with Dragon Tree.
I barely lost to him because it's hard for the retired deck to get over Granfia's condition when you had 8 markers out.
Yes.
So I had to retire almost all the rear guards to get the 10K off.
Yeah, if I had at least 2 rear guards on the back row, I was still getting the 10K to my... It's still a 28K base Vanguard.
I was 1 retirability away in that last turn. I couldn't.
I was adequately prepared to be surprised. Then you crit sacked me.
Oh, yeah, that was...
You literally could not have lived my next turn if it hadn't been...
I had literally 2 cards to guard with, and he had 4 attacks, and I was at 5. Like, I literally was going to die if I didn't kill him.
That's rough. I wish you did.
I wish you did.
I would have rather fought you than that deck, because that just gets annoying.
It was interesting to go against, but at least you never made it to your over-trigger turn. I can always take that to the bank.
Exactly.
I died quickly.
I lived through that, because I was at 3 damage, and I had 3 PGs in my hand. So I was like, take, guard. Like I take all the hits I wanted this turn.
Yeah.
No, you made a point and I just forgot it in your sentence, but everyone was having fun. No, yes. The point of, like you said, to play the game, not work the game.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, the card games are, and let's all say this together, a hobby.
Yes.
They are a hobby. It's not a. Some people it can be a career path for us, and like between the podcast and the YouTube channel, it's just taking the hobby to the next level. We don't make a lot of money on the channel, but we like being known for like the skill we bring to the game and the flavor we bring to the game. Whether we're like all of our players in our group are good at it or not, doesn't matter. We have our personalities. I'm an attention whore, and so I like getting recognized in public. I like when we go to regionals and stuff. I like getting recognized. I like attention. And that makes me feel appreciated that like my efforts aren't being wasted. I'm not just to be a celebrity, but to just bring a smile to people's faces, to be funny. Hopefully people can see themselves in me of like, that's how I feel about these cards too. That's how I feel about playing this game too in these moments. Like we recorded a video earlier this week and it made me the most crazy, angry person in the world, but it was still funny.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, I got the snot beaten out of me, but it was the funniest video I think I recorded yet. I was told the field video was like fuzzy earlier today, and I was very sad. I'm like, oh no, please tell me it made it to. He's like, he told me Phil's still going to put it out there. I'm like, cool. My anger and frustration, despite taking such big L's, it's still getting put out there. I didn't want my suffering to happen and it not make the light of day.
Here's the best way to explain it. It wasn't that it was fuzzy. It was a little out of focus, but it's not where you can still make out. You can still make out the cards. It's just not tack sharp.
It could have been better.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I do want to add that you can make your own fun. Not the tournament from last night, but the last tournament I played over a year ago. We were all playing whatever meta deck we had at the time. Even I was. But because I had to rush, every time I turned a card or did an attack, it just went bang, bang, bang. I was playing against Alex, who then on his turn went bam, bam, bam. 2 turns later, the two people playing next to us are doing it too. And before long, the entire mostly empty shop was just bam, 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 bam from our table, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I was laughing leaving the store.
I loved early overdress meta between me and you against Jail and Overdress is because it was just these annoying, like, because I think it was set 2 was the most legal set, and then we had the first festival set added to it, so I had Lemon, and we're just sitting there like poking at each other with the most we could because my deck hurts yours, but you have cards with resist, so I can't get rid of your whole board, and so we're just sitting there like just punching each other, and then like, all right, your turn, hit me, boom, and it was just the most, and we'd be in the top tables and just doing that in a very solved meta. It was really fun.
So
it was a 16-turn game, and we literally only lost because I decked out.
Yeah, I took him to the bank. I was scared of decking out because when my Vanguard gets to condition, it's triple drive. So at a certain point, I was just like, I'm going to stop jailing cards. Because if I keep at least 3 in jail, I'm triple driving. I'd rather twin drive. I'm going to deck out if I don't stop.
So
that was my plan, was I wanted you to jail one more time. So you would deck out because I realized where it was going. No, but it was some of the most fun, high-pressure Vanguard I've ever played.
Yeah. So for people listening or watching, if you're not at our locals, but I got a proposition for our locals over this video. But I think it's going to apply to other locals, and it'll be fun for Vanguard for you guys. Maybe if you're doing like a monthly every month to a tournament, Vanguard Day usually happens once a month. So that day you can use it to be your top tier A deck competitive tournament.
Yeah,
and then you pick every other day, the other 3 weeks or 5, you pick. Or
depending on the month.
Yeah. You just pick, all right, cool. This week, C tier decks. This deck, B tier decks. This week, you can run A tier decks.
And you'd have to use a more official, like, system tier list.
Yes.
Not just like, I saw this guy's YouTube video, and this is his opinions on what the tiers
are.
No.
You
find a collaborated, like, what's topping, what's bottoming.
Yeah, you just make your own shop's tier list. And you guys can pick from that tier list what to play. That way, everybody's on the same level, and you get to have this same level of fun.
A lower power stakes. Lower power makes for more fun because it makes those sacky turns more exciting. Not like, well, of course you got it because you decked thin. That's what your deck does. Versus like, I got really lucky the Overtrigger was on top because that happened to me against John. My Overtrigger happened to be on top of the deck. No. I did it against Hector. I almost killed him.
Oh.
But he offensive over triggered me back in Brentgate. That's kind of tough. But to kind of transition to the next question, because I think it'll be an easier question, especially it'll be more focused on you. Are you thirsty at all?
No, but my kid is. I can tell.
How do you feel about sparkling water?
Sparkling water. I don't like it.
Have you ever tried Liquid Death?
No.
Have you?
I don't know what Liquid Death is. Tell me about Liquid Death.
Can you hand him that box right there on top?
Yes.
You told me these boxes were empty.
They mostly were. Can you open that for me? It's a gift for you from me. The box does not say the contents within. It's just the box was used to open it. So yeah, you can just pull the ribbon right off. Oh, you want to get her to help you?
Do you want to help?
It's going to be very unexciting for her.
It's a here. You pull. You're very good at tearing paper. You've done it your entire life.
He's like, you're taking my scrapbook. Stop.
Well, I was just moving out of the way.
Vanguard.
Nah, you wish.
No, you wish.
I do wish.
I try to make sure the opening, you can open it up still. Unless I sealed the whole box like a monster.
You might have.
You might have.
You did.
Here,
did.
I got you.
Oh, it's easy to open.
Use a key to perforate the tape.
I could have used my own keys for this, but now I have someone else's keys in my hand.
Uh-oh.
That has the power.
My truck's not that good. It's at the top. Yeah,
Not
sorry.
that weak.
Just pull.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Pull the tab. There you go.
Oh, and paper? Here, kid. Don't eat it.
Get this ASMR of crinkle paper.
Bury it alive? What is this?
This is Liquid Death.
I've never seen this.
Is it a sparkling water flavored drink?
So,
Murder your thirst?
yeah, if you don't mind, I'm trying my best
I love
to
he
get
just
us
casually
sponsored.
pulls it from the side.
So I had a backup plan. If you said, yeah, I've had Liquid Death, didn't want a fan, I was just going to say, well, I'm thirsty. Can you hand me that box? So I'm glad you're going to try this with me. And if you don't end up liking it, it's okay. You won't hurt my feelings.
I will try anything once, twice if someone's watching. Anything past that, I like it.
So I will say it's not like other sparkling waters like LaCroix. It's actually got some better flavor to it.
It's not
LaCroix's my
scented water.
experience.
It's not in scented water. It's more in flavored water.
Mm-hmm. And it's good fresh. So I had these in the fridge. So it's been sitting in that box for maybe an hour because I put it in about 10, 15 minutes before y'all got here. I was rushing upstairs. I'm like, this would be the funniest bit in the world to do on camera if I hid an actual gift in one of these boxes and made it part of the bit. It's spicy water.
Is it good?
It's
You hear that?
good.
Liquid Death, this is baby approved.
Yes, Liquid Death. If you're listening,
toddler approved?
Toddler.
Toddler approved.
if you're listening, we still would like to have that.
Kids love it. So do
Sponsorship.
adults.
She
Liquid
wants
Death.
more, so there you go.
Kid tested, parent approved.
Approved.
Liquid Death, murder your thirst. Please, if this doesn't get us the sponsor, I don't know what will.
Is it a thumbs up? It's 2 thumbs up. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
2 thumbs up. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. Yeah, but no, I liked them a lot. I picked them up earlier this year, like after I moved, and I've been enjoying them. They also make teas. The teas, like some people are like, oh, I like just drinking the teas, but at the same time, I really like sweet tea. So the Liquid Death teas feel like it's just watered down tea.
Sorry, I'm realizing I've basically raised a little sponsor because unprompted 2 thumbs up. This is good.
This is good.
I promise she's not a paid actor, like a child actor. She's not going to pull off a mask and be like a full-grown adult under there that's
This
just
is
trying
how
to sell.
she communicates. She won't tell me if she likes food or not, but I taught her the phrase, this is good, and we did thumbs up for when she didn't want to talk. But when she
So
likes
she
food,
might not like it, and she's just trying to be nice. to
No,
us.
if she does not like something, she will tell you.
Oh, so
She will-
she's brutally honest. Gotcha.
Yes. She will chase me down if she likes the flavor of something, but
I think the only downside to Liquid Death is you can't nurse it too long, like over more than an hour.
It's better-
It loses its carbonation
freshness.
after about an hour. But and it is a tall boy. The joke is it's supposed to look like it's an alcohol can.
I mean, yes, it has a good vibe to it.
They
too.
have a new flavor that just came out recently. I saw it on Facebook. It's orange. It's like orange crushed or something. but it's citrus flavored, like orange citrus.
Mm.
I really want to try it. So I'm probably gonna go shopping later today, and I'm probably gonna stop at the grocery store and see if I can find it.
Do they have anything similar to lemon lime?
Yes.
They
There
have
you go.
a bear.
That is my favorite flavor.
What was it called? The lime flavored one. Oh, it's slipping out of my mind. But they have a lime one. You can get these. I get these at Lowe's Foods. They're local here.
They're actually very affordable too. They're like the price of an Arizona tea.
So I got.
Wow.
Okay, no, they're not.
They're not.
What?
So Arizona tea is like $1, right?
Oh yeah.
So they sell these in boxes of 8 packs, I think 8 or 12-pack boxes of these cans, and the box is like $14 to $15.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
It's not bad, no, because these are good. Like you can drink these at least once a day. It's 8 ounce, or sorry, it's almost a 20-ounce can. Excuse me. And what's really fun about them, they have multiple flavors. They have the berry flavor, they have a cherry flavor, they have a lime one, they have just regular water, and they have several tea flavors. They have a melon flavor, like kind of like a weird watermelon flavor. Berry Alive is one of my favorite consistent ones. The cherry one's been pretty good. I'll get that one every once in a while. And then the citrus one, I'm excited to actually try that one, the orange one that I was just like, ooh, orange flavor. That sounds fun.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of tempted to drink that orange flavor as well. I'm a big citrus guy.
They do still they do technically sell these at Food Lion. The problem with Food Lion is they only sell the lime one in the box. Everything else is in separate cans, and they're about $2 a can. So it's like you might as well get the box at that point. You're getting better price for it. But I love Liquid Death. Please, I'll put a poster right in this backdrop because I know y'all sell posters, and I saw one, and they're like metallic looking. They're kind of foily. So I will put you on my wall, Liquid Death, and I'll talk about you every episode. There'll be a can sitting on that desk unopened.
Yeah, right over here.
Right over here, Liquid Death.
Product placement. I'll bring the kid in every once in a while to reapprove it.
Wear Liquid Death t-shirts.
Exactly.
And then it'll be a Liquid Death podcast. We won't be talking about card games anymore. Just like, have you tried the new Liquid Death? I'm going to Liquid Death, my Liquid Death.
The Liquid Death, my Liquid Death.
My ringtone will be Liquid Death. And yeah, see, she gets it. It's funny. But so my other question, and this one might be an easier question for you to answer if we still got time. But it might
we're
not be.
sitting close to the 10-minute mark.
Okay. Well, for you specifically, since me and Alex are married, but you were married with a kid and family and all that, how do you balance life, liberty, and the pursuit of card games?
Well, the simple answer is for the last 13 months, I didn't.
Well, obviously, I think it was a skill to learn how to get to this point.
It was. Well, also, again, I'm
Age is
around her
huge.
all the time. So now that she's aged up and she's ready to hang out, I can do this more. But I very clearly remember, and I'm getting angry thinking about it, Philip, when I had to play the Overdress and Cross Overdress merged decks. And the day after we went to the hospital so this little one could pop out, I went with that anger still in me. I watch that video sometimes because my hair becomes to get wild. It starts to look like I'm that anime character who's becoming unraveled. I had a lot more to say than I actually said in that video, but I didn't want to get demonetized. But I still played Vanguard for, I want to say, 6 to 7 months after she was born. And it was easy. I would go to the shop, and it was my one night where I wasn't the primary caretaker of her. I'd still hang out. I would play games with you guys. I'd usually lose a bunch of my matches. I'd come home, but I'd have a baby who would look at me as I walked in and go, "Hi." So it worked out. Ultimately, she's very interested in cards, which helps too, because, well, it's something we can do together if she decides she actually wants to play the game. But it gives me an excuse to work it into my daily life.
Yeah, trying to balancing anything's hard. Like for me, I know because we had several members of our channel. You're one of them. As part of our Top Deck Hero groups, that having a kid, they're like, I got to turn the thing. Like with Shane, his distance on top of raising a kid, and his home life is a little more
And work
tedious,
life.
and work life is harder too. He's got like Hector's work schedule and Connor's family size, and so it's like it's this huge juggling game. Doesn't he have a second kid on the way now?
I
I might be mixing up my friends.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I can't remember. I have a friend who has a second kid on the way, and I don't hardly see him anymore. But and he's like,
no, yeah, Shane does have a second kid.
Yeah, okay. I'm Shane. I hope we're not making you feel like we're bad friends, but we have so many
that
friends.
either.
No, I think he told us this months ago.
Yeah,
it's been a hot minute.
It's been a while.
But I know.
Thank you.
Honestly,
wait,
their kid could have been born, and we don't even know.
Did he tell us when we're going to Duluth?
I think so. Yeah.
If so, this is gonna be hilarious because this means 2 trips now. Because the first time was in Chair Expo, he told us, and this time would be in Duluth. That'd be hilarious if every time we go to an event, he tells us he's having a kid.
Yeah, that would be funny. With that, it's just crazy. But my friend Adam, they had their kid, and I'm the godparent for their son. I'm not going to say names because I don't want to, internet and stuff. When I don't want I need their permission first before I drop names. But at least the kid's name and stuff. But when a short time after he was born, he just kind of realized because he works like a third shift, and so having weekends free was difficult for him, and he'd be like 2 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 2 days off, and so it was getting difficult to hang out. And he's just like, man, I'm really sorry about this, and like with the kid and all, it's like I just hope you're not holding against me. I'm like, I grabbed him by the shoulders. I'm like, I want you to know, and this goes for you too. I'm sure you already know this, but as a friend, I would never hold anyone's child against them. I'm no longer their friend if I do that. Yeah, because that's the worst thing a person can do. Because their child, that is their new priority. This is your new priority in your life, and you know that. That's why you dropped card games altogether. You focused everything on her, and it's paying off, right?
I will say I did not drop card games altogether. Where I did
dropped
digital, but
spending and hanging out.
I
and
did
doing the
give
channel.
up a great portion of some of the things I enjoyed most in my life because she needed it. Ma'am, you're leaping at the can. Please chill for a sec.
But like with death, you hearing that? Babies leap for joy.
Personally, as long as I can, 1, afford it, and 2, still show up physically, I'm going to play card games. I have never found something I enjoy as much as going to a shop and playing in my locals because it's a great way to socialize. It's actually mentally stimulating, very mentally stimulating, considering I don't know anything that's currently in the game. Every single game I went into last night was blind, and I had to learn on the fly. But it fills a lot of roles that nothing else really fits right now. And I have always loved card games. I will continue to love card games for the foreseeable future.
Gotcha. Well,
so for me in this instance, I don't have a kid, but I did become a homeowner. Yeah. So that in its own self is very taxing.
Yes.
Especially when you find out, you got a lot of projects coming up.
Because it's financially taxing. It's time consuming.
Yes.
And time is money.
And then, me and Jess do plan to have a kid at some point, So I'm mentally preparing myself for that, like, transition. So, like, one thing I've learned with my card games is, like, I used to be the guy who was like, if I think a deck is interesting and it's affordable, I'll pick it up. I got to the point where I don't think you've seen this, but I have a spreadsheet now.
Everyone's got a spreadsheet.
You showed
now.
me.
Everyone in our group's got a spreadsheet now.
Yeah, thanks to me.
No, Nathan started this.
No.
He saw you do it, and he's just like, oh, let me share you all the spreadsheets I've been doing for years.
Yes, but anyways, I did a spreadsheet because it was the best way for me to keep track of all the decks I had, and I had over 36 decks. And I was like, I should probably condense this down. And I got it down to 24 decks. But I think I want to condense it down more because I know whenever I end up having a kid, being a homeowner and having a kid and working a full-time job, I know I'm not going to have the chance to play every 24 in one of these decks.
Yeah.
And granted, half of them is still Ikea, it's my nation, so I'm just going to keep those at half. But like, if it's not a main deck, I should probably, keep it to like 1 deck per nation or 2 deck per nation. That way I can easily...
No, she's having a great time with that ribbon. That's great.
She's having fun. That's what it matters.
She's welcome to take it home, but I won't give you trash if you don't want to take trash.
I'll put it around her, and then when I present her to my wife, present her to my wife.
Oh, my God. But yeah, I get it. Like, the time when you have like that stuff happen in your life, you don't have the time for card games. But at the same time, like, I don't think you should, if you enjoy playing card games, you should completely cut it out. I think you should just, like, prioritize.
You put it on the back burner.
Yeah, like, keep the decks that you love to play. And keep maybe, like, I don't know, 10, maybe less than that.
I mean,
Keep a good handful. That way you have variety.
Yes, but don't do like I do and just like, I'm just going to pick this deck up. Ask for it from a friend. You don't have to always have every single deck you think is enjoyable to play. You can always borrow a deck from somebody. Or this is what Deer Days is for. You can
test the decks before you purchase the deck.
Yes.
Well, that was actually my main way to keep playing Vanguard when she was born, is I played a lot of Deer Days. I've kept playing card games. I played the Pokemon mobile, what is it? I forget the name of it now because I stopped playing it because the meta's crap. But I've also played Balatro, which is roguelike poker, and boy, does that make you focus on numbers. So I continued to play card games because I love them, but it's missing the social element that comes with all of you guys.
Yes.
Also, you guys are, my family. I've missed you.
We are family.
Yes.
I can't.
Family.
The mantra. Well, I guess speaking of family and all that, that gets us to we're at that mark about now.
We're about 56.
56.
About 4 minutes to an hour.
Oh, well, then yes. At
Yes.
the 10-minute mark, you were supposed to tell me stuff.
Oh, I know.
Well, that means we can now transition to the last and final question for you. What got you into card games, and kind of give us a timeline that kind of somewhat leads to now?
If I go all the way back, it was probably Pokemon. I remember I was 5, and my dad, we were going to Florida. He got me a Game Boy Color with a light, and Pokemon Blue for me and Red for my brother. And we sat the entire 14-hour car ride playing Pokemon.
Wow.
And
that's some good batteries.
we got the car chargers. Dad got everything to shut us up
Prepared.
in the backseat of the rented van. And it worked. But I became obsessed with Pokemon. Not healthy. But I wanted everything. I wanted the cards. I initially only collected them because I didn't care about playing the game. Exactly.
My boy.
I haven't missed a game. I'm still really into Pokemon. But I collected the cards. No clue what happened to that original collection. But I would pull them out and look at them just to look at them. And then...
Oh, no, they were gorgeous, the original ones. Oh, my God. I had a bunch
I
of them.
remember 4 kids had Yu-Gi-Oh! And we watched it one day, and I'm like, I can play a card game?
Screw
And
this
it's-
Pokemon. He just shoved it to the side. I'm playing that.
I saw Kaiba, and me being at that stage where I liked anti-heroes and was just a little edgy, I picked up the Kaiba deck, and it's been card games ever since. I went from OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Playing Blue Eyes as long as I could hold out, actually far longer than I needed to. I then picked up, what were they called? The Gearoids? Something. Whatever Cyrus played in the anime.
Oh, Ancient Gears.
No.
The Speedroids.
The
Speedroids.
Speedroids, yes.
Oh.
And then I picked up Ancient Gears, which were my love for a long time. Then I picked up Morphtronics. Wow, I'm realizing I have a theme here with machines.
No. It's not Speedroids. It's just the roids.
The
Vehicle
roids? Is that what they
roid,
are?
steam roid,
Yeah.
ambulance
All the way up
roid.
to Jumbo Drill.
Yeah.
Whatever. They weren't good, but they were fun.
Oh yeah,
No, they weren't fun either.
Don't
Never
worry,
mind.
they're still not good. Well, there's a it's not UFO roid. It's supposed to be the NASA ship, whatever.
Yes.
That roid has never came to the U.S. and so that it's like a very essential card to make roids even somewhat playable.
That's unfortunate.
Man, it's just like,
OCG imports,
it's like, God, what's the name of that deck? Cody Blaze and Vanguard. Just
Without
you need
one
this order promo to make this deck even functionally work,
Dude,
and you
if-
don't have it. The deck's
Dude,
dumpster
if
fire.
that order ever comes out, I bet it'll be a $50 order.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's so,
So
essential.
crucial.
Well, it'd be all
so
the
many
value.
promos.
It'll be
Oh.
the entire. Well,
The problem is that it's also a generic promo, so it can be ran in other Dark Dragon Empire decks. It's like it's the Mythiarch habitat of Dragon Empire.
Oh, yeah, no, then yeah, it'd be a $50 promo. They'd have to make it like a pre-release promo or a box topper to make it not expensive.
Yeah.
That would be so important. But yeah, sorry, continue with your
Yeah.
timeline.
Continue with your story.
I went to Morphtronics, and I stuck with Morphtronics for far longer than I should have. I stuck with Morphtronics through a format and a half. They were never good enough for that, but I did it.
Fun is fun.
But then I picked up a Utopia deck, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't doing it for me anymore just because That's
as you get older, it just rubs different.
It was also a completely different game by that point. The game had more interaction, like we were saying earlier.
Maxi, Effect Veiler.
And I stopped enjoying it, so I started looking for other card games. And lo and fucking behold, I go and pick up a Vanguard deck. It was...
So, I know what Yu-Gi-Oh format you're talking about. It is the Xyz wind-up format.
Yes.
Is where the deck... The
yes,
meta
it was wind-ups. Thank you.
Wind-ups
them.
got... Well, that meta was literally, it was those two decks or nothing.
Yes.
And that's exactly when Vanguard came out.
And it's when most people actually transitioned to Vanguard.
Vanguard almost killed Yu-Gi-Oh because Yu-Gi-Oh was so bad. Everyone was jumping ship to Vanguard.
I didn't know anybody. The only person who played Vanguard with me was my brother. He's a saint for this because he was no longer that big into card games. And then I joined the army, and the only thing I took with me was my Vanguard deck. So in my spare time, I had Shadowbox with that deck. Then I left the army years later, and Vanguard had advanced to very late OG stuff, actually.
Like what late G format? Just by the time
No, it was a little bit before G format, because when I started playing
Legion?
again,
so late Legion.
Late Legion. And I didn't understand Legion because I had been playing with, an OG Vanguard deck. It was a whole nother language. But as soon as G came out, I was very interested to learn the new pace, a much faster, more interesting game. So I picked up Aquaforce. I did not, however, pick up any of the good strides from Aquaforce, so I had to make do with skill alone. I did not win very often because of that.
Well, strides were always expensive, so
well, that was my problem. I can't even remember what was it. Lambros.
Lambros, yeah.
Oh.
Lambros was expensive back then.
It was very expensive, and I
hate that card.
It was very good, but by
Yes.
the time I finally got my hands on it, Thavas became the new big grade 4 you wanted for the deck to really keep pace, stuff like that. And then I picked up Thavas, and it was Aquaforce all the way through G. I played V from the beginning, all the way to... I know I played V Gurgwit, so I played for a while.
Yeah.
And then I started working a night shift, so I couldn't play anymore because...
COVID also happened shortly after, so...
Oh
you didn't
my
miss much.
gosh, that was then?
Yeah.
COVID had... There's a secret
No,
meta
no.
of V that's missing.
Yeah. So back when Vanquisher came out, before Gurgwit and V,
Vanquisher got its second form.
Vanquisher was the lost format because Vanquisher was the deck to take to tournaments, but the problem was nobody could take it to a tournament in English. So for like that whole year, we saw
digital tournaments.
You saw digital tournaments, yeah.
Oh, on webcams and stuff.
I remember that. I remember coming...
Because I was so ready to finally top my first regional because like this is the deck to take,
and I know it in and out.
I know this in and out. Like this is my baby. And then like COVID, I'm like, why?
Why, you cruel God? Why?
Having to go over to Philip's. What the hell was it called? His dorm, and that was when I first showed up on the channel, I think. Because I had been playing with you guys, but I didn't show up on the channel until Gurgwit came out. And I misplayed the hell out of that game by forgetting you could still call perfect guards from deck, just not from hand in order to do all the guarding stuff with whatever. You guguys had to put in that I had not played in a long time. Yes. I feel ashamed by that disclaimer at this point, but I'm a better player now.
It's okay. Baby steps for everyone.
And then, God, I love Overdress. I still have the 4 Trickstar we got from the decks that we did for the channel and opened them up. They're still in my binder. I will never get rid of those. And then that led to Emergency Sun. That led to here. I have some of the best friends I'll ever make in my life. One of the most fun games I've ever played in my life. She likes it. She just doesn't understand it.
The pictures are cool.
The pictures are very cool. She likes shiny cardboard. She wants to eat it. But
who doesn't? Shiny click-clack. It's shiny rocks. Everyone can do that.
Exactly.
Well,
It went
Air
from
Force don't
rocks
like
to
them.
paper. Well, yeah.
She gets it.
And I don't know, from the minute I understood what a card game could do for me, I have loved them. And it's been pretty consistent.
No, that's a great way to put it. No, for me, I said it on one of our very first episodes when we restarted, but I'll kind of recap it. I'll keep it short. I won't go lengthy, but I started card games, collected Pokemon cards. I was a 90s kid. I remember when Pokemon came out, my parents were like trying their best to give me and my brothers Pokemon stuff because it was the rage in 1999.
Oh yeah,
Like any kid had to have it. If you didn't, you weren't a cool kid. And then Yu-Gi-Oh was 2001, man. That took other things happened in 2001, but like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Anyway, way to bury the lead there, bud.
No, it's okay. It's only been 23 years and some change.
Yeah.
I remember my mom took me and my older brother to EB Games to buy the structure decks for Kaiba and Yugi. I got the Yugi one. My older brother got the Kaiba one because he really liked Kaiba. I really liked Dark Magician and stuff like that. I thought he was really cool out of the box. The underdog, but not really because he always won until he didn't. But I remember being like, I got Dragon Capture Jar. That blue eyes ain't doing nothing. And it's like, it's in defense. I was like, 2,500 defense. How am I supposed to get over that with my 2,500 attack Dark Magician? And like, we didn't really know how to play much. I remember I had this, it just kind of occurred to me recently. My older brother was the first one. I lived in this huge apartment complex, not too far from where I used to live recently. It's called Huntington Park. And we had a bunch of kids our age there. He was the first one in our group to collect all 5 pieces of Exodia.
Ooh, what a flex, though.
What a flex. Whether all those pieces were 100% real and not knockoff, unconfirmed. But most of it was real.
I remember one Christmas getting knockoff Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Dude, they were the best.
I had the 3 Egyptian god cards, but they were knockoff. Dude. No one cared. Yeah, I had all 3 god cards. Yeah. I was king.
Dude, I got an Obelisk to Tormentor like that.
I remember back when I was a kid playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and there was this one like shop in Newton or whatever, I can't remember what it was, but they had vending machines and it had a vending machine Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and it was like the dumpster fire Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and I was like, I got a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Why is it peeling off?
It's just a sticker on cardboard.
Yeah.
I do want to say the thing that made me really find my groove with card games was actually a mean Karibo deck. That's whole shtick was to fill the board with tokens, blow everything up, fill the board with tokens again, and then token stampede you into oblivion. And it worked. It was supposed to be a deck that made it not fun to beat me, and then I ended up winning more often than losing.
So, John, he made a Karibo deck, and he used to run it, and it was just like rank 1 exceeds spam. It'd be like Volt Karibo, like, oh, is that an exceeds monster? I'm going to take its materials and summon more Volt Karibos. And, or Karibo, I can't remember. But either way, yeah, Karibo. And he, now he has it's an Egyptian god deck, where the Karibo just help you tribute summon Egyptian god cards.
That's smart.
It actually works. He runs a Master Duel quite often. It's his pet deck. But no, I play card games, started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Never really learned how to fully play it. I just had cards for the same time. And then I still had some Pokemon cards over the years. And then I'm a senior, fast forward all the way, I'm a senior in high school. It's like spring breaks happening, and I'm in a marching band. And so our band goes on a spring trip every year. We went to Atlanta, and as I'm going to Atlanta, my friends, they brought their Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know this was like the thing to do. And as we got back from the trip, I'm like, guys, I got to get into this. Like, let me in on this. And John's like, here you go. Here's a fire deck I made out of all the scraps I had at home. It was dog doo-doo, but when you lava dragon someone, lock someone with lava.
Oh, yeah.
Or volcanic dragon, which are the two. It was, so fun. And I've been in card games ever since. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Exclusively. My friend really pushed me towards Magic. I finally picked that up within the first year. And then along came a spider, Jeff, because Alex had a few Vanguard cards in his binder, and I was like, man, these cards are cool. And then Jeff shows up at college, and he's like, y'all should play Vanguard. And Alex is like, oh, I know that game. And then I'm like, what's Vanguard? And here we are.
Jeff was responsible for me really falling into where I'm at with Vanguard. He's
an enabler.
Yeah, he was an enabler
in a very deceiving way, and I love him for it. He's the little devil on your shoulder. It's like, yes, do it. And it's like, I'm having fun though.
The first
my wallet hates this,
and then you're addicted, and that was where he got me. Not to make that reference here, but he gave me some really cheap common Aquaforce stuff that I made work since I only had.
It just makes it consistent.
Exactly. It was consistently okay, and that's all I needed to feel like I was playing the game.
I had this experiment I've done recently. You didn't get to see it last night because you left, but encouraged my friends before more recent Vanguard things have happened to try to play OG Vanguard, more OG. But like the format we picked in particular was Legion format, but just before G.
Makes sense.
So the Perditions are the last legal set.
Yeah.
So anything from that set backwards is legal to play in this weird bubble I have. It's like the Edison of Vanguard. It's really bad. It's really fun. And then you're like, triggers only get 5k power. Triggers only have 10k shield. How did we play this?
Old school mulligans.
Oh, yeah. Old school mulligans where you shuffled back first and then drew.
I did that on accident last night for the first game.
Yeah, old habits die hard, man.
They sure do. But that's just it. I had played over a year of V. I shouldn't have had that still built in, but I did.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Did you guys guard the right way? Because remember back in the day, you had the guard with the same grade as your Vanguard.
Or less.
Yeah.
It can't be higher. Yeah, no, we guarded correctly.
Okay.
To be fair, though, anything higher than grade 2 doesn't really have a shield.
Oh, I know. It does come up in points.
Because I think grade 1s have 10s. No, they didn't do that till V.
Because that's why still Vampire was funny back in the day. Because you can, you're a grade 0. Guess you can't use all the shield.
Yep. No, it was great. But I started bringing those decks around again. But no, I think we got a lot of ground covered today. To those who are still watching, I want y'all to have a happy holidays.
Yes.
Enjoy all the fun card game times.
Because this will be coming out before Christmas. So
Celebrate what you celebrate and have fun with it.
Exactly. No, I think this setup's pretty nice for now. I mean, I don't know how long it'll last, but it'll be the new norm for a while.
Like I said, we got some tweaking to do, but it's a good
start.
grounding start. Yes.
Well, ma'am, did you have fun? Was it good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Two thumbs up for the One to Pass podcast and our not sponsor, Liquid Death.
That totally could be a sponsor if you're listening.
She loves this apparently, so there you go.
No, Liquid Death. Look at me.
There you go.
Look at me, Liquid Death.
Hold on.
If I do this much for free, imagine what I'd do when you pay me.
Look at her. Look at her. She said it's good.
Liquid Death is good, baby.
I have trouble feeding her sometimes. So finding something she says this is good on one sip.
I'd love it's like Liquid Death's going to send us emails like, you shouldn't have done that. Read the back of the can. It's like, do not feed to toddlers.
I don't see anything in here that makes me think we should. And it's not even got very much sugar in it.
It's got the same label as like plastic containers do. It's like, don't put the lid on the container where your kid's in it.
We donate a portion of the profits from every can sold to help kill plastic pollution. That's so nice. I don't see anything on here that mentions caffeine or anything. So
yeah, no, it's a lot of zeros. There's 4 grams of carbs. There's 4 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of added sugar,
and only 20 calories.
Yeah. No juice though, so I don't know where the berry comes from, but
it's probably just a flavoring.
Yeah. Natural flavor of passion fruit, raspberry, blackberry, hibiscus, and black cherry.
Okay, it's not a juice, but it is.
It does have the flavoring. Yeah.
They're not lying. That's all I know.
They do better than LaCroix, where they carbonate the water in a building next to a fruit building.
So the wind, when it blows right,
exactly,
will scent the water fruit scented. But no, LaCroix. Liquid Death is where it's at. People.
It's in my nose.
Oh boy,
it does bite a little.
Yeah,
that's death. That's where it's trying to kill you. The death. You know,
death comes for us all.
Death. But yeah, no. This has been a very productive episode. This has been Gizmo. I've been Lon.
I've been Connor.
And this is Alex.
You wanna?
Do you want to say bye? Can you wave bye? No, no.
Now we're showing. Oh my goodness! My cat is trying to say hi. Get up in my business.
You get all up in there.
Yep.
But with that, we'll end the podcast here, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
We'll see you next year.
Yes, next year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.